Good morning, everyone. I'm Sonia Marsh, the author of Freeways to Flip-Flops. I'd like to welcome everyone because today we are doing something very special. I am answering questions from a book club, the Maxwell Book Club in Georgia, and so I would love to welcome everyone and thank you for inviting me to be your author today. So, Eamon, I want to thank you as well for organizing this.
You're welcome. We're very excited.
Good, good. So I did open the chat, which is on the bottom right. I don't know if you can see it, but you can type in questions if you want to, or you can just read them to me or let me know what your questions are regarding my family's year in Belize, and hopefully you enjoyed the memoir. Are you there?
Yeah, yes, we're here.
Okay. Okay, so does anybody have a question for me? And please let me know what your name is.
Well, I want to. Dennis wrote in some questions. He had to travel today, so he is not here. But he did ask me to ask you these questions.
Would you like to be on the screen? Because right now I can't see your face.
But I am not Dennis. I'm Ayman. And let's see here. Okay, so the first question he asks is, and he has a. Okay, so you evidently felt strongly that living a year in Belize was beneficial to your family and reset your priorities and allowed all of you to live more simply and not be constantly so materialistically focused. Do you have any advice for the rest of us? Your book already is that advice, maybe, and maybe you should seek our own ways to simplicity and be more motivated to do it. I've known people in their last years who have had to slow down, radically change some detrimental habits, even take on new spiritual practices because their worsening health problems precluded many of the things they did in their former normal, quote-unquote, modern lives. And if they'd slowed down sooner, maybe those issues wouldn't have come up. But it's a hard thing to know because you're not sure if the pressures and expectations of modern life are causing our illnesses, and certainly genuine stress and exercise can be therapeutic, perhaps. So anyway, so this is Dennis, by the way. This is how Dennis asked his question. So, however, if we all adopt a better, less materialistically oriented attitude towards having it all right now, make that change possibly cause the collapse of our economy, if not Western civilization itself, due to a radically and markedly decreased demand for already produced goods and services. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is. And, you know, as I say, everybody is different. I mean, there are some people who are always searching for more stuff, always trying to compete with their neighbors. You know, those type of people cause a lot of extra stress for themselves. So it just depends where you live, and of course that's not the United States is a huge country, and of course there are differences between where you live, whether you live in a city, like if you live in Orange County where I live, or if you live in a rural area. Yes, there are stresses that affect your health. And I think we all have choices to make in life, and you know, if you choose to constantly acquire more stuff and you have a busy lifestyle, and maybe when you're young that's fine, but as you grow older those stresses can really affect your health. So it just depends. I think you can avoid it by uprooting yourself and moving either to a less stressful environment, lower your standard of living, if that you know, that can also lower your stress, or you can move to like we did, move to Belize. Although, as you know from the book, we replaced a few of the modern day stresses with some other stresses. So that's the answer to my question. And as far as the economy and Western civilization, you know, in my opinion, we go overboard with purchasing things. that we don't need. And I don't really think that, I mean, we get conflicting ideas from listening to the news. We're told that spending needs to increase, and then we're also told at the same time that we need to save more money. So very often I find that interesting how we're told by the media we're given two different messages. So that's my answer to that question. Are you there, Eamon? Did he leave? Hello? Can you hear me? I see a lady there. Can you hear me? If you could answer me, please. Well, I don't really know what's going on right now. I see a lady there. Are you able to tell me if Eamon is around, please? Nope. Oh well. I have no idea what happened here. Let me put something in the chat room. If anybody has any questions who's listening, please type them in the chat. So I'm going to just see if maybe my microphone isn't working. No. Anybody out there who is not with this Maxwell Book Club, please let me know. And if you can hear me, please type that in the chat box. I know a few of my friends said they would be signing up to listen today, so that would help me. Well, it sounds like we don't have any people here. How funny and how embarrassing and how strange. So let me see what's going on. I know that there were other questions that were asked, and I have the sheet. So what I might do is just read through them since Eamon isn't available. Okay. So the next question from Dennis Garman was, we can't all move to some place like Belize, but don't you think we need to step out of our own cultural fishbowl to reassess what really adds to or detracts from a quality life for us? Maybe what we see as good and what we want is not really adding to a real quality of life, and maybe the absence of some of those things actually add to it. So that is true. Not everyone can move to Belize. And the next part was, but don't you think we need to step out of our own cultural fishbowl? Yes, I do believe so. I think that it's very important to basically travel and see other cultures. I think that is something that I've done when I was a child and I lived in different parts of the world. And I also believe that, Eamon, are you there? Hi, Eamon. It seems that we are having some problems, and I am not sure what is happening. Are you there, Eamon? Maybe they got out of internet. Maybe they have internet problems at the library. Anyway, Eamon, if you're there, please. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're sorry. We had a problem with our wireless connection in this library, so
yeah,
I apologize.
I can't see your picture.
Yeah,
so
I turned off the camera on the hope that but I'm turning it on again now. I was hoping that maybe if we turn the camera off, we'd get a little better. We'll get some more bandwidth.
Okay.
Did you have any? Did we? Maybe there's another caller that had a question for you, or?
Well, did you hear my answer, or you couldn't hear me?
we we got cut off right at the point where you were beginning to talk about how you thought maybe we were, as a society, too concerned with purchasing items, and then that's when our connection dropped. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I just said that everyone is different and that you don't necessarily have to move to another country like Belize, because obviously there are different parts of the United States where people live a simple life, and you know, I happen to live in an urban community, and a very materialistic urban community, Orange County, which everybody has heard of. So my point was, you know, that I won't repeat everything, but because we can watch the video again. But I was just saying that it just depends, and your health issues, a lot of them, it depends on whether you want to follow that high pressure job or whether you want to live a more simple life. It's a choice. So that's my opinion.
Lydia, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you first went to Belize, did you experience culture shock? It seems like a huge difference in your way you would live.
Yes, and I hate to admit it, because I pride myself in having lived in many countries as a child, and I did live in Africa, but I was very little, and yet it does take a while to adapt. I mean, we did go from a comfortable lifestyle to living in a place that didn't have hot water. We had cold showers. We had to boil water in pots and take them downstairs to an old washing machine underneath the hut. And as you probably read in my book, my legs were bitten by bugs, which we weren't used to either, and then boil the water to wash the clothes. And then, you know, it was culture shock, and the kids, especially my sons, felt that even more, because we didn't have television, we didn't have all the things, we didn't have food. You couldn't just drive to the store and buy it next door. I mean, it was a long hike or trek just to get downtown. So yeah, there was a culture shock. And then seeing the children barefooted running on the streets, and the stray dogs that had been hit by cars, and they were, you know, hobbling along, and old couples sitting on their porch, just watching cars go by, and living in a shack, which was, you didn't know if it was torn down or whether they were building it. So yeah, it was a huge culture shock. Yeah, good question. Was your name Liddy?
Lydia.
Lydia. Yes,
Yes.
thank you, Lydia.
Did the boys gripe a lot when they first got there?
Yeah, as I said in the book, they didn't want to come outside for a long time. I think they were a little bit, I mean, they were scared. There were no other children in the neighborhood, which was a big mistake, because I said that we picked that location because it was affordable, and supposedly they had good schools in the area. We were living in a retirement community, though, and there were only 3 other kids there. So yeah, so it was strange for them in the beginning. It took 6 months to adapt, honestly. That's basically, I've come to the conclusion that it takes about 6 months to get to feel comfortable with your new life in a place that you're not used to at all. That's completely different.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah. What part of the book did you find most interesting, either one of you?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think my name is Diane Bowen, by the way.
Hi, Diane.
I think it's just interesting, the interaction in your family, and that was one of my questions. In hindsight now, what did your sons think about that experience there for a year, as well as you and your husband?
Well, you know, it's strange because we don't talk about it that much. Now they're in their 20s, and I know that it influenced them in their choices of career. I also know that it was beneficial. they don't, you know, there's a little bit of resentment from my oldest son still, but that is a different issue. I think that my middle son, who's now in medical school, he is, you know, he did incredibly well, even though he was very worried. Alec in the book was the one who got sick, the one who was worried about his studies and all that. Well, fortunately, it did not have any detrimental effect towards his future educational goals. I think that overall it was a wonderful experience that I would never change. It made me realize what is important in life. You know, family, finding happiness within yourself rather than looking for it from external factors, which a lot of us in a busy culture seem to think that happiness comes from buying stuff and doing stuff, but not necessarily. So it changed us in that way. And it's made me even more hungry for more adventure now. So, yes.
So, are you empty nest? This is Ayman. Are you empty nesters now, you and Duke?
Yes, both of us are empty nesters, and I am actually, well, my kids, two of them live in California, and the youngest, my youngest son is living in Texas, and starting, hoping to become a fireman. So he's 20. So yeah, it's a different experience. Your life takes a different direction, as you probably know if you've had children and they leave. And they don't live within, you know, 5 minutes of where I live. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way we've brought our kids up, and the way I was brought up was to be independent. So my father lives in Paris, so I don't have much family. I don't have any siblings living close to me at all, and I don't have any siblings, but I have cousins. So yeah, it's a different situation.
Are you planning any big travels or moves from your current location? This is also a question that Dennis had in his list of questions.
And actually, I am doing something life-changing next year, hopefully. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I applied to join the Peace Corps. Ooh. And that is a 27-month commitment, and I'm doing it alone. I have had a desire to go and help women in third world countries start businesses. So I have applied. I'm still waiting for my interview, and I don't know 100% for sure if and when I will be shipped off, but the Peace Corps is very good about wanting women and men who are older. It's not just about the young kids who get out of school. So there is a growing movement towards over 50-year-olds going and helping in other parts of the world. So that is my next adventure, and hopefully things will work out, and I will hopefully be able to publish another book about that next chapter of my life.
This is Lydia. Will your husband be going also?
He wants to go, but I tell you, I'm being very honest here. Unfortunately, both of us have got different paths in our lives, so he will probably do his own thing. I'm not sure if it's the Peace Corps, but he wants to do his own adventure, and I would like to do this 27-month adventure of mine, because the difference in personalities is I really want to, what's the word? I want to get, I want to be integrated in the society. I want to get to know the people and commit my life to living with them, the women in those countries, and helping them. So that is kind of where I'm coming from. I'm looking forward to that, and I really, really hope that this will happen. I'm doing a book launch on Saturday. I don't know if you're aware of it, but My Gutsy Story is an anthology, and when I got back from Belize, I realized that other people have done gutsy things in their life. So I've been accumulating stories that people have submitted about life-changing experiences, and the Peace Corps representative will be there. So now I'm trying to merge gutsiness with the Peace Corps and story sharing from around the world.
So will this be a book?
Yeah, actually, if you go to Amazon, I already have 2 books, and the third one is there now. It's called My Gutsy Story Anthology, and I'm looking to see if I have it on my... Oh, wait, 1 second.
Okay.
This is it. This is the latest book, and it's, as you can see, it's My Gutsy Story Anthology, and this one is called Inspirational Short Stories About Taking Chances and Changing Your Life. So anyway, that's what I've been doing since I got back from Belize, is publishing 2 books from other 64 authors in the first one and 46 in the second one.
Wow.
And they're very inspiring stories. It's not just about travel, it's also about changes that happen within people and how they've overcome obstacles in their lives. So, yeah. So they're available right now, and then my 4th book, hopefully, will be another anthology, and the 5th book will be my own story if I get shipped off to the Peace Corps.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, Eamon, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I actually wanted to know, obviously you returned to Orange County, and Duke, at the end of the book, has another job in Orange County.
Right.
But there's not much detail about the nature of that particular job and how he reacts to that job. I'm assuming it was, again, some level of the stress that had tired him out prior to y'all's trip to Belize. Did he handle it differently because of his experience in Belize?
I really think that you're the first person who specifically asked me that question, which I really think is great, and that is he went back into a career in law, and at first he went back to a different company. Really what we wanted to do was move to a different part of the United States that was less stressful, but our children, especially Alec, wanted to meet his friends again, so we thought we can't really do a second move after 1 year and start all over. They need some stability. So Duke went back to a law firm, and after 2 or 3 months decided that the opportunity of working for the same firm as before was better for him, and there were several reasons for that, and so he went back with that law firm and has been with them since then. But yes, the stresses of living driving on the freeways to Los Angeles, the stresses of work are still there. However, the way we deal with them has changed, because we no longer need at one point when you're younger, you think, oh, we have to compete with everyone. We don't feel that anymore. We don't feel we have to have a fancy car, or we don't want that. So that part has changed. We've changed. And I know that I take pride in driving an old car, and I take pride in things that are different from what other people want. So I don't need possessions. As long as I have a couple of nice outfits to wear when I go out or speak, I'm fine. So for me, it's all about adventure and taking risks, and that is what drives me. So, yeah. So the stress is back for him in the driving and commuting, and I'm fortunate I can work from home, so that's different.
Sonia, this is Diane again, and I wondered, when you decided to go to Belize,
Yeah.
did you know it was going to be a temporary move, or were you intending to stay permanently?
Yeah. Actually, we were intending to stay forever. as we had sold everything. And in a way, that was a little bit of a concern, because I had hoped, and after reading books, realized the best way to do a move like this, if anybody's thinking of moving, is to rent for 1 year before you make up your mind, is this really the country that we can live and work in? And I was hoping, in a sense, that we could keep our house and rent it for 1 year and then make our decision. Are we staying or are we not? Unfortunately, as I mentioned, we did make some mistakes, and one of them was, I think, getting rid of the house. Although that was the only way we could probably afford it, was to sell the house so that we had money. Otherwise, we weren't working when we went to Belize, and we were trying to work, but those were the mistakes we made, is that in general, you don't go to a country like that and think, oh, I'm going to get a job within 3 to 6 months. There are so many things you need to adapt to. You need to understand the rules of the country. So, so it was intended to be a permanent move, and unfortunately, due to some of the things that happened, we had to change and come back. And the main reason was not being able to earn a living.
Well, it just reflects the fact that you learn flexibility.
Yes, yes, very true. And I have to say that one of the things that has prepared me for the next adventure in my life, if I get sent to the Peace Corps, is that, and I've heard it said many, many times, the reason the Peace Corps is so long, 27 months, is it basically takes a year to adapt. The first year, you're getting to know the people, how do they live, what kind of ways do you handle certain situations. So it's a learning period, and I think that's excellent. In 1 year, you can figure things out, and then you know, is this a place for me or not? So.
This is Lydia again. Do you have any idea where you'd be going in the Peace Corps?
Right. So I speak French fluently, and I lived in Paris for 15 years, and initially I wanted to get sent to a French-speaking country, and they were going to ship me off to, perhaps, not for sure, but my application was supposedly going to be with Mali, a country in Africa that's French-speaking. Now, I happen to be a person that likes water, and Mali is a landlocked country with the Sahara Desert. The Sahara Desert and mud huts, and there has been a little bit of unrest recently in Mali. I've been watching French television because I feel I get more news about Africa on French TV, and so I make a point of watching that every day. So now my application, I requested if it was possible to go somewhere else. And I'll tell you, my first choice was Vanuatu, which is in the South Pacific. And there they speak French. And I thought, okay, I would help women. But according to the schedule, Vanuatu isn't until 2016. So I don't want to wait another whole year. So I asked where could I be sent, and okay, so the country is Timor-Leste, which is north of Australia, Indonesia. And the Peace Corps used to send people there, but then they pulled everyone out due to some political unrest. And next year is the first year that they're sending Peace Corps volunteers back to Timor-Leste. You can look it up on the map. It is like, if you know where Darwin in Australia, in the north of Australia, it's north of Darwin, northeast, and so it's beautiful. It was the Portuguese and the Dutch lived in colonial type days were there. So French is not one of the languages, and I don't speak Portuguese and I don't speak Dutch, but I don't know if they still have people who speak those languages or not.
Could you spell that country again?
Say it again.
Could you spell that place?
Yeah. It's T as in Tom, I, M as in Mary, O, R, hyphen, L, E, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, E. Timor-Leste.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, look it up and then email me what you hear or learn about it or what you think about it. But
Okay.
if they send me, it will be in August next year. So I will be 58 years old at the end of August, and I am looking forward to spending the next 2 years and 3 months helping wherever. So yeah, so that will be hopefully what will be the next book.
That's wonderful.
This is Ayman. I had is Belize a malaria endemic area? Did y'all have to take malaria prophylactic drugs?
No. No, but there is dengue. There was at some point in the jungle dengue fever. We did not get sick from that, but I've heard some. Actually, I heard of a Peace Corps volunteer who got dengue fever, but is curable. So what happened? Oh, one of the things that happens is, and I didn't write about the book because this is something that happened when I returned to Belize afterwards. I've been back 3 times since we lived there. I was volunteering with a group of nurses in a village, a Mayan village, called Red Bank in Belize, and I was walking on the beach, and apparently barefooted, there are some kind of if you walk in dog excrement without realizing it, the flies lay their eggs or something, and I got a worm in my toe, and it is very uncomfortable because you can feel the baby worms in your foot or in your toe, and you have to take medication to get rid of it and to kill it. So I wrote a blog post that I did a C-section on my toe and gave birth to a few worms. So anyway, that was the only thing that happened to me. So,
Sonia, this is Diane again. I was just wondering, because you didn't mention it in your book, about any religious faith or anything that you were involved in, either at home in Orange County or in Belize.
Actually, the one thing I did mention, please understand that I've been raised in many countries, and I kind of have an international view. We did not go to the church there, although my mother-in-law and her sister went. There was a Catholic church on the island. I believe many Belizeans are Catholic by religion, and there was a Catholic school on the island. But one thing that did happen to me, and I did mention that, is that every day I would meditate at the end of the beautiful pier that we had, and I was looking at the ocean and looking at nature and the clouds, and I had free time, which is something that is so beautiful, to slow down, to really slow down and enjoy your surroundings. And I think that's why a lot of people here do meditation, because that's their way of slowing down. But for me, that was the first time in my life that I actually felt a beautiful sensation of warmth. And I say that it went through my left arm and went through my entire body, and it felt like my blood was on fire, and it just went through my chest, and I just felt this amazing, amazing sense of love. Love for the world, love for people. And that was, I called it as my spiritual experience, because it happened so unexpectedly, and it was so beautiful, what I felt. And so that, I think I know I wrote that in the book, but that was the only the thing that I wanted to recapture, that feeling of beauty and love for the world and love for every human being on this planet, and acceptance. And that was something amazing for me.
This is Ayman. Dennis had another question regarding, well, you had made the observation in your book that, well, at least one of your children had become more observant about
Right.
animal and plant life, around,
Yeah.
and obviously, even here, like, in Augusta, Georgia, you can't see the stars at night because of the city lights and the clouds and all these other things. Whereas, obviously, I think in Belize you mentioned that you can actually see the sky, which you can't see in most of North America, right? So, what do you think that had a particular value? That's what Dennis asked, and if it does have a value, how can parents who have children in the places where we're not really exposed to nature, inculcate that value in their children?
Well, that to me was very unexpected, as I said, and I know. I mean, let's face it. Certain people are very observant compared to other people. Some people are very self-focused and don't look around them, and it's all about them. And other people are in tune with what's going on around them. So I think it's not just a question of whether you can. I mean, you can show children and nature and take them out. Like some kids here in my cousin's family, they go hiking a lot, and on the weekends when their kids were little, and they had traditions, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, the whole family would always go on hikes and look at flowers and nature. So you can teach your children at home how to be more observant if you are sort of an outdoor family. It's not sitting indoors watching a television program that's going to about nature that's going to teach you that. You have to be out there and bend over and pick up the flowers. But I have always been the type that when I see beautiful things around me, I point them out. Whether it's roses or bougainvillea or flowers, I love nature. That's why Mali doesn't have nature, it's desert, and I need something with flowers and tropical plants and water. So yeah, my son, I think it did help the fact that he was actually the one that would sit on a palm tree and stare at the ocean just like I did at the end of the pier, and he could sit there for a long time or sit on our boat and stare out at the ocean. And then we had the dolphins that were swimming next to us when we took him to school. So those things, made him more aware. But as I said, here in America, a lot of families, go camping and hiking and all that. And I think that's an equally good way to make your children aware. You have to take them out to experience that. Did I answer your question, Eamon?
Yeah. Well, let me just ask you. The one thing is, did that have an importance later on in your child's life, like that?
Yeah.
That aware, or had he always been observant, but just about other things in his environment?
Well, he was 10 years old at the time, so yeah, he was the youngest. But I think that he is, and who knows whether it's personality or what, but he's the one who lives in Austin, Texas. And for him, his surroundings are very important. He's the one who says, I didn't like living in. He left Orange County about 6-7 months ago. He was going to school here, and he said he didn't care for the environment, and he wanted to find a place that people were friendlier and maybe slower pace of life. And then when we got back from Belize, he's the one who wanted to go to New Mexico to that military school, and that was in a very rural part in Roswell, and the population of Roswell is tiny. So he has always been more aware of nature although Alec, who's in medical school, I mentioned briefly in the book that I was very fortunate that I got my kids to go to Africa when they were 6 and 9 years old. My dad invited all of us to go on a safari, and seeing the children, the Maasai kids living in huts, eating this kind of gruel and having flies all over their face, and the animals that we saw, the giraffes, the rhinos, the the elephants, the alligators, crocodiles, all those things really influenced him, and he talks about that today. So, to answer your question, if you can take your kids on a life-changing trip, I think money is well spent on a memorable experience for the entire family rather than on purchasing a big screen, flat screen TV. That's my thing. Those life-changing things, you never know how they affect children, and travel does affect children for life, in my opinion. Yeah. So
I have one more question, Sonia. This is Diane. Your sons, you said in the book, were drawn closer together during that time in Belize, which had not been true when you were in Orange County. Did that stay that way once they came home or back to the States?
Yes, it did. It stayed the way it was in Belize for about 6 months, because it took us 6 months to adapt back to life in Orange County. I mean, seriously, I tell, it did stay. I found my kids chatting together because they were used to being together, but then my son went to University of Michigan, then the other one went to Santa Barbara, and the youngest was in New Mexico, so they were separated by distance. Yes, it did make closer bonds, but I think as you live in a different environment again, of course it's had profound effects on you. I know they're all frugal. Oh my gosh. None of them want the expensive jeans or cars or clothes. They don't care about that. So that really made a difference. Whereas their friends are, showing off with fancy cars or whatever it is they want. That's not important to my kids, but yeah. And to be honest with you, my youngest son, I am very fortunate. I am taking him to Europe to see my dad at Christmas this year, because my dad turns 90, and he's still in great shape. And my son, my youngest, is interested in going to explore Europe and to see his grandpa. So we're going over there for 2 weeks over Christmas, him and I alone.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, I think it does mold you, but your personality does affect you. I mean, what your genes and what you're born with. I've come to the conclusion that having 3 kids, and they're all 3 very different. I'm sure as mothers and fathers, you all realize that too. Even if you treat them the same, they don't. They turn out completely different with different values and ideas about life. So, yeah. So, do you have children too, and grandkids, or are you?
I have 2 children who are grown.
Grown?
No grandkids, but I have 2 children who are grown.
Do they live close to you, or are they in other parts of Georgia or the state?
My son lives near Atlanta, which is about 2 hours from here, and my daughter still lives with us.
Okay, good. Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate all your questions. I thought they were very good. And if there's anything else you want to ask me, please do. If not, I hope you keep in touch with me. And I would love to let you know what my life is like in the future. I do have my website, and I will continue to blog. Wherever the Peace Corps sends me, I'm hoping that they will. I will write about the people I meet and what life is like in that part of the world. And you can, I don't know if you go online, but it's soniamarsh.com, so my name.
Yeah, the URL does appear on the Google Chat video, so we
Good.
we can
Yeah.
see where the URL is. This
Right.
is Eamon. I did have another question. You know, I am actually interested in the anthology of stories that you've compiled. And I think there might. I just met. Well, I know somebody in Augusta that I think really did an amazing thing. Actually, people in Augusta. How would what's the process of informing you about a particular person and consideration?
Yes, I am always looking for new stories, and every Monday I put a new story on my website. And actually, I might not do it in December, but I'm looking for stories for November. So if you know anyone who, this is what it's about. It's about something that changed your life, or overcoming an obstacle, or something gutsy that you have done that was life-changing. It doesn't have to be jumping out of airplanes or anything like that. Just even overcoming cancer or overcoming something in your life. So the way to do that, it's 1,000 words or less, and you can email me at Sonia, SONIA, at soniamarsh.com. So that is my email address, or you can go to my website, soniamarsh.com, and on the top right you will see the Gutsy contest in big red letters. Just click on that, and it will take you to the submission guidelines. And I have a little video explaining, it's just a short video of what I'm looking for. So if you have stories, please send, and if you ladies like to write and you have something you'd like to share, I'm happy to read through them and then post them on my website. And you can read a whole bunch of stories on my website, and if you want to get them all in a Kindle format or the Nook or whatever, they're all available. You can just, Amazon has it on Kindle, and you can also get the print book. So it's won, the anthology has won 4 awards, and the memoir, and I have to brag a little bit, I'm going to Miami on November 22nd because my memoir has received the gold medal for the Reader's Favorite Awards. So I shall be flying out there to get my medal, and I will be showing pictures and stuff like that on my website. So I'm very glad you read my book, and I will ask you if you have a moment to please give me a review on Amazon, because I've almost reached 100 reviews, and when I reach 100, Amazon is going to do something special, they say. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm hoping that it will get promoted a little more to other readers. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. We enjoyed it very much.
Thank you very much.
And I enjoyed your book. Thank you for taking time to talk with us.
Oh, thank you so much, both of you, and thank you, Eamon, for sorry about the technical difficulties, but we got it working.
Yes, we did. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will send you the link, Eamon, if you would like to see the video to share with others.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.